The following podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Any unauthorized distribution or duplication may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, or the wrath of the tall man. And this is 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. This is your host, Cat Bus Russ. And I've just had a longer day, I think, than I expected. It was a trip over to Peoria to see my first ever QuadCon. I know in February they are going to be having one in Champaign. So I discovered that, of course, after I saw the Peoria information. And hopefully Ava covering up her poop in her litter box is not that distracting. Trying to record this before the air conditioner kicks back on again. So short episode today, needless to say. So let's get a little more formalities out of the way. If you want to get an idea of what I'm prepping for the podcast, you can follow me on Letterboxd. The username there is CMDarth. That's C as in cool, M as in movie, Darth as in the Sith Lord. And who knows, now that I'm going to be throwing on my Chris Hardwick bump from the ID10T podcast ahead of episodes, maybe the cool movie Darth will catch on again. You know, I love being called the Cat Bus, though. What can I say? So the AC is kicking on. Just bear with me as I keep chattering, just because, again, after my previous episode with Sam Marsh, it's important to just keep the air busy. And since I'm recording this on the Spotify for Podcasters app, I really don't want to go and have to edit too much. So sorry if it sounds a little half-arsed. But, you know, it gives me a lot more time to figure out what I'll do with the podcast. As I say, I'm working on covering up my features that I would say, are just part of Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy's Trash Features review. I know I'm very behind when it comes to getting all 27 of those out of the way. I'm only up to H, technically. I've watched H, I, J, and K. So it's coming. And next weekend, I got the Tournament of Champions for What Do You Know Trivia. Team Shrug emoji if you're spectators out there. And so basically I've got one day to record before I'd like to drop my next regular live episode. And then when I mean live, I mean episode with the guests. So that's, I think I'll bump that up and, catch up accordingly and have everything straight, I hope. So, needless to say, enough with the introductions and stuff. It was a kind of a crazy day. So yesterday, after I got off my second shift job, I did not have to work my primary job, so that was nice. I drove straight home to Morton, where I visited with my folks, got my laundry done, and watched, I think, 3 hours of YouTube videos. I didn't get to bed till 3, and when my older sister, ThePoeticCritic, decided that, we gotta get rested up for the show, the con. And when I got up that morning, when I woke up, it was because my older sister was saying, the water's kind of backing up in the toilet in her basement, and this is like the third or fourth flood for my parents in their new house they picked up in 2020. My mom's got her own theories. I'm thinking, or at least was hoping, it was a pipe, just so we know it's going to be all covered by insurance. Dad assures us that. But I digress. A lot of it was just Mom getting on her high horse about, all right, I got to get rid of all your collectibles and such. So I don't know what's going to happen to a box of Star Wars toys. We're talking circa 99, of course. The basically I bought as much Phantom Menace action figures as I could. So I know those aren't really worth that much because I was at QuadCon. So needless to say, I had to go and make sure my guitar got out of the basement because she was just saying, that's going to Goodwill. Sorry to deprive my brother-in-law of a 1996 PV Raptor. That my little brother is kind of... So, the story of the guitar is my little brother wanted to be a bass player. I wanted to learn how to play guitar. I found out quickly my hands are a little too short, too small for the fretboard. meaning getting a proper G was not going to happen for me there. I promise you, ladies, I can handle the proper G now. All right, enough innuendo. But I got to make this at least PG-13, I suppose. So I took that guitar and kind of threw out the carrying case it was in, because that was just worn, and a lint roller was not going to take off all the webs and such on that. So it otherwise is in pretty good shape. I just got to wipe it down, get a new G string for it. Amps, I can figure it's definitely going to be worth more than the Goodwill trip. So as for my Star Wars ties, I don't know. Because that was I think the Star Wars toys nearly got me out of my anime collecting, because at that point they were $8 a toy, I think. So pick up 2 or 3 of those, that's one VHS tape. So try to walk carefully around Mom and her mood, but do my best to help out there. Move a larger space heater than around for him. So it was good to be there to help him out at least. So, but got to QuadCon, and it was fun enough. It really was just a toy and collectible show. So they had some pretty solid vendors, like Central Illinois Funko Mafia, I think is what they called themselves. Had quite a selection. And then there's other shops that I really was just resisting buying Funkos from. I've got them bookmarked in my Google Chrome, Chrome. So, I'll check it out if I really want that $20 Jubilee X-Men 97 or the 30-year anniversary of Harley Quinn Funkos. Resisted buying a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Funko with Groot and the detonator. So, it's fun. It's definitely a fun pop when you can reference that to your older sister, who really is just constantly going on about wanting to demise the superhero movie. That's the biggest problem, and we'll get to more of her movie thoughts. But I didn't really talk to too many of the celebrities. There was Acme Comics, the original Drunken Zombie guys, and they were boothed next to Lord Bloodraw, who would do at least the interstitials for the Drunken Zombie double features that were at the Peoria Independent Theater, which soon became just part of the Landmark Cinema, because the Jay Goldberg organization are just kind of cheapos, I guess. That was just looking for a good indie theater, and now without the art theater, the building's there. I think it's got landmark status, so you got to do something with it. Somebody has to. So I don't know. Maybe I should just play the Powerball. I actually have cash. Because the big reason I went down to this con, because as I said, I know they pop up everywhere, and as I say, I think it's February. I'd have to go and look at a calendar, so bear with me as I pop that on my Apple Watch. So I am back home in Champaign. I just a little on the tired side. When I drive, I'm primarily running on sugar, and when you're a diabetic, that is not necessarily wise, or at least I don't think it would be wise. So let me see. August, September, October, November, December. So I think the QuadCon in Champaign-Urbana will be the 23rd and 24th, if I read it right. I think it's probably more likely the 24th and 25th. That's going to be a tight spot. I think it'll probably be at the I Hotel, or maybe a conference center on the west side of town. I know that they... it's going to be in a hotel with a minimal conference center space. I don't think it's the I Hotel. But they don't need a lot. It was just the one room in the exhibition hall. But the reason I went to the show is after recently watching the Cinema Snob do an episode on Rats, a Bruno Mattei movie, which I haven't really done much myself. I have, from the Drunken Zombie double features, I do have a copy of, as a raffle of one of the shows, where it was the 2-pack women's prison massacres. So Italian exploitation. I get a hold of a lot of that stuff. I was watching Fulci movies back when it was on Netflix all the time. Good old days of Netflix. And even then I was watching, and my exposure to the horror and interest in it really came from a special on Dario Argento. And I still got to watch his latest movie on Shudder. Suspiria is his best known feature. But Tenebrae, Strange Drafts, number 1, Giallo movie is another good one. But the point of the matter is I didn't really know anything about horror really. Just, by the time movies I was of age to watch in the slasher genre were so formulaic. It was just more stupidity than actual suspense, dare I say. So, yeah, I have always had a fascination with Italian horror. And he's also done movies I've seen and movies I've covered on the podcast. And I guess I've got to back up because 2020 Texas Gladiators is definitely was done on the Alley's Accessory Shop on Etsy's Trash Feature Review. It's not a Bruno Mattei movie. I was just say I haven't done any Bruno Mattei on this, but I'll get around to all that. So that was basically it. Like, he was right at the entrance. And, he was just really selling his book, his latest book, his first novel, dare I say, The Class of 1986, which is, he sells, at least on YouTube, as a survival guide to the apocalypse per 80s movies. And it's funny because that just wraps it up. He was basically on the Rats episode of Bruno Mattei movie. He was saying he was going to be at QuadCon in Peoria. That was his next appearance. And it was just him, not the Channel Awesome folks. And honestly, I think that's was a lot more fun when it came to him. So, again, forgot my business cards for 90 for Chill, the podcast. But, c'est la vie. I just mentioned, so I get around to him. He was across from a actor who's doing the cons right now to sell his art. His name is Matthew Atchley. His website is His website is artofmattthewatchley.com. Info at artofmatch. Okay, dang, sorry. Now I know how I'm misreading this. All right, so his name is Matthew Atchley, actor, artist. His website is artofmatthewatchley.com. So that's ARTOFMATTHEWATCHLEY. There we go. He's also got his social medias, which I'll be sharing on this. He's got a YouTube channel, and just under Matthew Atchley. So that'd probably be the best way of seeing him. I'm not a big pusher of the Facebook and the Instagram, of course. He does have those, though. Facebook.com/theartofmatthewatchley and Instagram.com at the same, theartofmatthewatchley. So he was selling some great pencil and color drawn color prints of scenes, for the most part, from action movies. I was tempted to buy one original work, I'd say, which it was just Deadpool giving you the middle finger holding the Infinity Gauntlet, which was fun. But I was able to get frames right away from this gent. So $30 in frames, $25 in prints. But these are both from the pencil prints from the movie Tombstone. So I think I only really have prints like that from one other artist. That was James Ferguson or Jim Ferguson. He's always at the Fan Expo, and I think he's usually at C2E2. My ex-girlfriend, Allie, got me one of a great watercolor of Chewie and the Porg as they fly to save the day in The Last Jedi. So looking for wall space there. But, so I'm at QuadCon basically so I can buy Brad Jones' book, The Class of 1986. And as I say, it was kind of fun to not have the rest of the Planet Awesome guys there. That would be Doug Jones is the... Doug Walker, sorry. Doug Walker is the pretty much the face of Channel Awesome. He is the Nostalgia Critic, which honestly is the first set of videos my older sister, the Poetic Critic, got to watching. They're fun, at least the early ones are. I think he may have gotten too much in creating his own characters, but then again, you wouldn't have stuff like their series of movies, like Kick-Assia is something I bought from them a couple of years ago. I shouldn't say a couple of years ago. I think just last year. It was C2E2. So a couple C2E2s ago. I got it autographed by Doug and Brad. So, but basically, this was just Brad on his own. So he had to talk to everybody on his own. And, I'm basically waiting in a queue just for a guy to shut up, dare I say. Just talking about, his love for angry video game nerd, just the entire concept of YouTube videos. I did eventually was able to pop myself into it as he's talking about Brad Tries, a series on Stone Gremlin, is his YouTube channel. And basically it's like talking about trying hot sauces, and I mentioned the gentleman who was just talking his ear off was talking about Steve-O having a new hot sauce, and one was just hot, very hot, the other's extreme, and I guess Scorpion is the latest hot pepper. And this is where I found out, just saying, you know what, this is I should have gone on my Jurassic Park rant about genetic engineering instead of special effects in this case, to find out that, we are creating hotter and hotter peppers. It's not, this stuff is not found in nature. So again, we were so concerned with trying to determine if we could, we didn't stop and think if we should. So that was how I was able to pop in and, offer to buy his book. And as he was about to sign it, he said, doing only cash, which I guess that's all I can really complain about is you could have a little more signage on your table and at least say only cash. I mean, I just I don't have enough funds in my SEFQ account. So yeah, I took the time to go all the way out to that ATM. So the one sitting out in the lobby to both the center lobby, I guess you'd say, because would get you into the arena, the theater, and the E-Hall. I didn't really get the boast about being knocked out in the E-Hall before. Tough Man Contest 2001. I got 2 invites in the Tough Man Contest, so, hey, can't help but appreciate my reputation there. So, basically, it's a guy who can throw a punch and won't die, because it wasn't until 7 fights into my unplanned barroom boxing career that I actually got a win. And hey, to my credit, I caught up to, I think I'm a 12 and 13 out of 25 fights of 3 1-minute rounds. So hey, so yeah, I'm just on a very, this is what I love about the podcast is okay, we have something to focus on one-on-one instead of, a guy who seemingly talked, I don't know. I'm not a very, again, I sit at a bar, I'm enjoying myself, having a drink, good spectator, I guess, and then, that's something I relate to, and boom, let's take over the room. So by the time I got back, he's still talking to the same guy, I think wearing one of the fat guys from Jackass t-shirts, but yeah, I got to finally, get to buy the book, and get to talk about Bruno Mattei movies, which that is something I'm definitely have to watch. I think tonight, if catching up on AEW wrestling doesn't take it all up, is Bruno Mattei's Terminator 2, which is a mashup, basically an Italian exploitation mashup of Terminator and Aliens. So, who's not going to like somebody trying to rip off James Cameron? It almost makes me want to wish I could see these Avatar ripoffs like the Chinese were attempting to do. So, but he was a very cool guy once I got to talk to him, and I'm pretty brief. We were talking about how I've come across so many just Italian exploitation movies, and talking about how, and I guess you just watch the most recent YouTube videos at Stone Gremlin Productions, his reviews for, and I think I don't know if he had the time to do the Barbieheimer. Oh geez, Mom was watching Fox News Saturday night, and they were just doing their best to lampoon anything anything liberal, mainstream, not liberal, mainstream, just to show us that, no, you're in the right place. Stay with this cult. And, Mom's laughing at it, and it's like, they're not funny jokes. You're just liking the chance to laugh at other people. Great. So, hopefully Mom doesn't listen to this one. So, let's not pitch the idea of my parents just sponsoring this to get me some ad time somewhere, somewhat. I did have an experience at my primary retail job. You can know what it is if you listen to enough episodes. If you've been listening long enough, I should say. Because I'm pretty good about covering up where I work. Had a couple come up to check out, just gets a charger and a cord. And the woman of the couple asked, "Do you need 4K to stream?" And I said, "No, 4K is a resolution. You don't need, it has nothing to do with streaming. So I can stream Fox Nation on my TV, provided your television has streaming. It does not. Then you need a Roku, a Fire Stick, a Apple TV. Chrome is pretty good. I don't want to put them last. I prefer Google over Amazon whenever I can." And of course, her response was, "Well, that's what I asked." And of course, no, you didn't ask that. You asked about, you asked if 4K had anything to do with streaming, which I told you it did not. You could have just told me, "What do I need to stream?" And I could have given you an answer. Instead of you wanting to be smarter than me to watch a bullshit channel. Geesh. It's not, and those freaks, there we go. You watch their commercials. This is the channel for real Americans. Well, yeah, no. That's total bullshit. You're a bunch of freaking traders, and you're looking for people to sell your message to, that America is for people as primitive as the Founding Fathers. And yeah, Founding Fathers, I saw somebody walking around in a t-shirt, and of course it was my liquor store job, so hey, I can't judge people there. Definitely will judge people at my other retailer, but wearing a shirt, say, with George Washington holding an AR-15, and George Washington says, own an AR-15, everybody should own an AR-15, probably, and it's yeah, George Washington would tell you to own slaves too. I mean, the Constitution is a brilliant document which is meant to be modified, and which means anything that says one language, one religion cannot be included in it. I mean, I suppose if we do go total fascist, you can change it that way, but just, we're not there yet, thankfully. So sorry all my rants. I guess I could transition that back in, talking about Tubi, which is an awesome service. which you can watch all these movies, because that's primarily where Brad was saying he was watching these recent Bruno Mattei's and Slaughter High, which I guess he would say, like, as he wrote or was doing his most recent edits on Class of 1986, is that, oh, yeah, if you like those reviews, you're going to like the book, because that's pretty much what I think this novel is. And I'm flipping through it, and it's about 300 pages, little less, but it's fairly well spaced, I think double spaced, so it's going to be, fills up a lot of paper, and that's not a bad thing, because he's a cinema guy, I'm a cinema guy, a page a minute rule, I think, applies for both of us, so nice and easy, sounds fun. And when he autographs this current set of books he has and he's autographing, he has noticed typos still in the book, so he's calling it the Bruce edition. So yeah, so I got that autograph. So very cool guy. And then, the next person talks his ear off, which is like, I don't like, it's just one of those, like, yeah, I guess the guy who wants to stay busy, especially in Peoria, where the biggest star there is the guy who played the kid who played Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones. The cosplay wasn't too much at this. It's, as I say, it's primarily a toy con, which, get home, my older sister describes that to my mom, and it's like, I don't want to hear about toys after all the stuff she's moved to get, for the people to handle the cleaning of the basement. So I have space, I can bring them all in. It's really, again, there's just so much dust and sitting in the attic and such. It's like, fortunately, a lot of the toys are, but I shouldn't really be bitching. I've got a compressed air duster here, so I could fix all that. It's not like the guitar case, which was fabric, and then all of that stuff gets weaved into the weaved nature of it. So then I went. So he's, as I said, he's across from Matthew Atchley. I go and look through the rest of the show. And then go back to Matthew Atchley to buy stuff. Support your actors. This is the type of gentleman who the actor strike is all about. People are just trying to make a living at it. Not the stars, the actor, the extras, the people who put everything on the line and, take what role they can. So you got to respect that. And with that said, we got to get these guys off the lines. And my older sister was discussing, she's getting a lot more use out of Twitter than I am. I've really, this past week, I've just so much screwed up. Thank you, Elon Musk. With that said, I'm on Mastodon, at Russ Stevens, at mastodon.social. It's where I met Sam Marsh from the Men in Black episode last week. Good gent. And, at least I know the feed is doing what it's supposed to. Give me the new stuff. Don't just throw it here and there. Very resistant to thread still. As I said, I was very resistant to give Mr. Atchley's Zuckerberg-related accounts. So went to him after I finished up and found these prints he did from related to Tombstone. I got them in pencil. One is the 4 walking from left to right, Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, Sam Elliott's which Earp was he? Well, the oldest Earp brother, Kurt Russell's Wyatt and Bill Paxton's Morgan, Virgil Earp. And he said he actually ended up drawing this one for Bill Paxton before he passed. So that's kind of cool. And the so I've done an episode on Sam Elliott, and, Bill Paxton's still an option. Plenty of stuff to draw from. Done a lot of his movies just because he's in everything from the 80s, but I digress. And then he also drew one for Michael Biehn of Johnny Ringo holding a gun. I don't necessarily know if it's as accurate to the background, I should say. But yeah, so it's Michael Biehn as Johnny Ringo. So yeah, that's a pretty solid. As I say, I got those two prints for $25, and then he was selling frames, so $13 a piece. No, sorry, $15 a piece. Yeah, I'm gonna take him up on those. So I could hang those up somewhere if I could find the wall space. I've got wall space. I just, I might be helping a friend out, so I don't know if I really want to make him live in my world until he gets on his feet. But never mind, Cowboys. Let's just put it that way. So yeah. And as I'm finishing up my transaction with that, the Poetic Critic is talking to Mr. Jones and, trying to sell him on, again, like how, oh gosh, Disney's next movie is going to suck. It's Solar Babies for Walt Disney adults. And and I just do my best to pop in there. No, it's going to be City of Lost Children for Walt Disney adults. That's my hope. I mean, I'm going to have to watch movies just to go and counterpoint the older sister, I guess. And the problem is she might not be wrong, but I just don't like her attitude, I guess, about this. I don't want to cheer on failure. I'm a Cubs fan for F's sake. It's so much more fulfilling when the Cardinals are finishing just behind you, not in the cellar. You want them to at least play ball with you. Oh, which reminds me, I do need to get to Cubs games, I suppose. Again, I will digress there. So what's up in my future? Again, podcasting might be a little tricky because, I have next Sunday available, but I have the freedom right now with this episode. I'll do a movie episode next week on my own. And then there's, then I can do, so I'll have the August 1st. Fudge. August 1st is a Tuesday when, that movie episode, but I can go and bank one, on Sunday, the 30th. So if anybody wants to jump at that, send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. I would prefer to focus on sub 100-minute movies, but I am happy to make anything work. You might have to do a marathon and listen to the Sam Elliott episode with Andrew T.D. In regards to how that will work. So, you could also follow me on Twitter at CatBusRuss. And, of course, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. Apple is my favorite, but Spotify I host my podcast. If you do it on Apple, I will reciprocate that 5-star review for one of my own. My username is the Scoop Staley there. And as I say, I'm just looking to fix the algorithm, so 5-star reviews, but be as honest as you want in the critique. I appreciate it. So if anything, I'm doing my best to chatter more because, again, Sam was very much like, I got a lot of dead air. That's going to be a lot of editing. And, I told Sam, I work 52-hour weeks. So, getting rid of F-bombs, that's what I'm best at. So, but otherwise, when it comes to the future, as I say, I can do next Sunday. The Sunday after that, I'm available. And then from there, it's here's what's going on. Fan Expo in Chicago, Rosemont, if you want to be more accurate, is happening on the 10th through 13th, I believe. So that I will be out there. So I'll probably be making some content there. And then the next close local podcast, I should say, is local con, I guess we'd say, is Midwest Toy and Comic Fest. That is happening at the Park Regency Hotel and Conference Center in Bloomington, Illinois. And their flyer is all about promoting Reno 911 star Carlos Alesrec. Shoot, I am so sorry. Carlos Alesrec. Okay. Carlos Alesrec, who, aside from, I believe, playing, Deputy Garcia on Reno 911, he is best known, I at least remember him best as Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. I mean, he's done a lot of voices, just looking at it. Mike Wazowski on the Monsters Incorporated series, the Taco Bell Chihuahua voices on Fairly Odd Parents. He was Mr. Weed on The Family Guy. So, yeah, that might be something. Well, I've got a Rocco's Funko Pop with Spunky. So, yeah, that's definitely worth getting autographed. And you know what? Who knows where that can go? So somebody had an autographed of the... I can't remember which store it was from, but an autographed Doc Holliday from Tombstone, signed by Val Kilmer, and that's going for $400. So I'm not saying Carlos is going to be worth $400, but no, don't want to go with the cruel. Well, the cruel joke was on my mind, but hey, at least I can talk to him. So yeah. I really wish, though, for Fan Expo, really wish I could have found some prints from Matthew Ashley that featured Kiefer Sutherland or Mira Sorvino. I guess I can get my latest purchase of, which isn't my latest purchase, my last DVD purchase as a Replacement Killer signed by Mira Sorvino. Otherwise, I own all her movies digitally. And I do need to get around to watching Mighty Aphrodite. And then Kiefer Sutherland is... Oh, shoot. I should have really dug through there. Surely he had some Lost Boys stuff. So that would be a cool thing, autograph, to attempt to get. And, of course, at Fan Expo, they're going to have a Back to the Future panel. And a Christmas Vacation panel, so could be interesting. I think the panels are usually better at C2E2, but if you get bored, there's a lot more to do in Rosemont than there is McCormick Place. I mean, yeah, if you want to drive around, use a lot of taxis, McCormick Place is pretty cool, but yeah, so that's really what's going on with the podcast. So it was great to see the Cinema Snob, Brad Jones. And great to see that Peoria has an event like that. Because, hey, the vendors weren't bad. A lot of toy stuff I think I may have actually saw. I don't know for certain if it was the giant battleship that every toy fan is looking for from G.I. Joe. The USS Freedom or something like that. But, yeah, and then, you find out other Funko Pops that are available. I didn't know WWE won't put Bam Bam in the Hall of Fame, but he does have a Funko Pop. So, yeah, something worth hunting down. So, yeah, it ended up being a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go and do the Urbana show. Maybe that's something I should talk to my parents about, getting myself a booth so I can try promoting the podcast, sell some of my old shirts, and who knows, maybe try to get some wrestling bookings on top of everything. Or maybe just sell the screenplay for what it is. Shit, $5 a pop. It's not like I beat Zombies versus Pro Wrestlers to the screen with my script, Main Run of the Dead. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun. This is cool. Just wish it wasn't so eventful at home, I guess. But it is what it is. So next week, right now, the plan is to try to further catch up on Alex Accessory Shop on Etsy's trash feature review. A lot of extra homework. Saw some bad movies that makes me question my own motivations as a screenwriter. But, hopefully I'll work that out. Otherwise, it was also cool. I was able to stop by Stacia's grave before I left, so it was cool just really kind of getting things in order. I believe, or at least I want to believe I believe she has spoken to me, I feel. But it's good to have somebody you respect to look up to. You could have God. I don't believe in him, but, I think kind of got myself straight. So, keep doing my working hard, and maybe I can move on to bigger and better things. And, I hope she's doing well wherever her spirit lies. And I hope Skimble's the perfect company for her. I told her she's going to have some, Snow White vibes with all the animals that I think from the people's lives she's touched that have ended up crossing that rainbow bridge, dare I say. She's going to have Snow White vibes, so many fur balls around her. I don't know. That's why I like to believe that the spirits survives. I don't care about heaven or hell. Because if your heaven is being, I don't know. I could be smothered by cats all day. I guess I'd take it. So, this isn't about the afterlife, though. This is about the now. So, thank you for taking the time to listen to 90 for Chill, the podcast. Again, love to hear from you. If you want to be on the show, rustthebus07@gmail.com, or get a hold of me on Twitter or Mastodon, @CatBusRuss on Twitter, Russ Stevens @mastodon.social on Mastodon. So thanks for coming to 90 for Chill, the podcast, and may I get a wahoo. I would just like to make one final note. Sorry for the interruption of the outro, I suppose. Just the thing is that the QuadCon that will be coming to Champaign will be on February 3rd and 4th, hence why I was thrown off by the concept. I think it was just thinking, 2-3, 2-4, making me think it was the 23rd, 24th. So sorry for that confusion there, and also let me just throw that reminder in that Midwest Toy and Comic Fest is coming to Bloomington, and that'll be September 30th and the 1st of October. So that's all. Have yourselves a good week.